Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Aid to Assets podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Watson. We're here. I get to interview current and former 9-to-5ers who've made the pivot into real estate investing and the real estate professionals that help them do it. And I am so excited about my episode today because, y'all, episode 52. I can't believe it's been over a year since we started on this journey together. Over the past 52 weeks, I have the privilege of introducing you to some of my incredible friends in the real estate world. We talked about everything from wholesaling, rehabbing, house hacking, how to scale your portfolios, and of course, I pay for it all. You've heard the stories, the strategies, and the successes from real estate investors who are just like you. People started exactly where you are. For many of us, it all began with picking up a book or watching a video or meeting that one person who changed everything. A year ago, when I decided that I was going to launch this platform, I had no idea what this was going to be. Candidly, I look back now and realize I didn't even know what week 52 was going to look like. I never even thought about week 52. Let me keep it 100. I didn't even know I had 52 topics to talk about for real. And each week, whether it has been some amazing investor that has wanted to share their experience and their successes and even many of their lessons, or it has been me personally sharing more of myself and my story with you, I am so very grateful that you have made the choice to join me. Whether you have listened to a half episode, this is your first episode, welcome, or you've been rocking with me from A1 day one, and this is episode 52 for you. I want to say thank you. Seriously, thank you so very much for coming on this journey of real estate with me as I continue to learn and grow as an investor, as an agent, and even as an entrepreneur. Y'all are seeing my journey in real time. Y'all see my real reaction when I'm having these conversations. I am learning just as much as you are. That's actually how this platform got started. I recognized the privilege I had of being in certain rooms and learning from people, and I wanted to showcase us. I wanted us to see us. You get to see, I hope, yourself in many of the guests that I've had on the show, whether you are a mom and you are wanting to do something different, or you have a really good job, but there's just this moment where I don't think this is it. Or you are someone who I just know I don't want to work for nobody else. I want to create my own legacy and freedom. We've had so many guests talk about why they got started, how they got started, and the journey along the way. And so thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. You all send me feedback. You tell me what you want to hear about, who you want to hear from, other investors that are doing amazing work. And I am so incredibly grateful for each of you. Y'all, real estate is not just for them. It's for all of us. We can all be successful real estate investors, and I'm here to show you how. So in celebration of our journey, today's episode, we're going to throw it back. And we're going to revisit some of your favorite moments from the past year. Enjoy these clips. Y'all know we're not just hearers of the word, we're doers of the word. And so I hope that these words are not only inspiring and encouraging, they also light a fire under you. You can do this, and I am here along the way to help you be a part of your journey. Enjoy these episodes. And remember, I can't wait to see you at the closing table. Welcome to the Aid to Assets podcast, the ultimate podcast for aspiring real estate investors. I'm your host, Tiffany Watson. Join me as we discuss real estate investing for 9-to-5.
Like, your work ethic should never change based on the result.
You cannot put a price tag on your safety.
When you can understand the foundation and how we got here, it will give you direction on how it could potentially go.
If you want to get some real estate, the best way to get it is to start investing in real estate. And that's what I'm saying. Tax liens and tax deeds is the best way.
So we are meant to be in movement and in constant motion, in constant discovery of ourselves. And that's why we get to explore so many different things of ourselves.
This is your Aid to Assets.
Talk to me now if you have a client who they bought a house. They didn't think about investing initially. We know the rat race dream. So you get a good job, you go buy a house. That's what you're supposed to do. So they own their primary residence, but now they want to figure out, how can I get other properties to build a portfolio? Talk to us about the recommendations that you would give them.
So in this particular case, do they have cash? Like, do they have some capitals?
They got a little bit of capital. Let's say they got, some savings, maybe like $10,000, $15,000, somewhere around there.
So not a whole lot. All right.
Not a whole lot.
So, all right.
They've been doing they've been doing what they've been told to do. They got an emergency fund. They bought the house. They did what was right.
Yeah. So in this particular case, if we're talking buy and hold, they need some cash, right, to be able to put as a down payment. So they can leverage their retirement account. If they want to, you can take a general purpose loan from the retirement account to use as a down payment. You just have to run the numbers and see if it makes sense, because you'll have to pay that loan back, which you'll be paying yourself interest, but still, you still have to pay it back. So that's something to consider. I actually did that for a property. I borrowed $50,000 from my retirement account to use as a down payment. I paid it back, but yeah, that's an option. Another option, we will look at to see how much equity they have in the individual home. I'm not a proponent of using a HELOC to put down as a down payment. I would use it more so to do a flip, put the money back in the HELOC and pay it off, and then use the profits from the flip to use as a down payment on the property. So it's just different ways you can do this. It just depends on the individual situation and how much capital they have, time, how much they have in their retirement account. It's a lot of different things. That's what I like about finance. Like, it's so many things you could do. You just got to get creative. Or I didn't even mention this. You could partner. Nothing wrong with partnering with people. Like, you could easily partner with somebody else that has the skills, that has the capital, the time. That's the three things you need: skills, capital, and time.
It's important for me to say this. A lot of times, a lot of us get scared. So here's the property that you're supposed to purchase, but then a lot of us don't want to pay for our own learning because, for whatever reason, I don't have the money, it costs too much. First of all, as someone who has seen how it was back in the day and also seeing what it is now, trust me when I say you're not attending 3-day $20,000 seminars anymore. You're not. These days, everything is much more affordable to you. And also, you have to start understanding value. You see, I remember when I purchased my third property and I spent like $37,500, and at the time I had just paid off my student loan. So it's like I felt like I was spending a lot of money. I had just paid off I paid my student loan off in one lump sum. So I paid it off monthly. And then one day on my birthday, I decided to give myself a birthday gift. I was like, you know what? Just pay this damn thing off and move on. I'm sorry, I cursed. Just pay this thing off. Yeah. And I paid it off and I moved on. So it was $20,000 I ended up paying as a lump sum. And then shortly after that, I saw my third properties, put in an offer, it got accepted, and all in, I had to pay like $37,500. And I remember driving home, and I was so afraid. I was like, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Well, guess what? That was back in 2018. It's been 5-6 years. I have recouped over $37,000. Like, I don't even think of that money anymore. When I'm getting my tax deduction, do you think I'm worried about it? Like, I have made, even in 1 year alone, that property, that's my third property, rents at $1,300 upstairs and $1,375 downstairs. So that's $22,675. Multiply by 12, that's 1/3 of $100,000. Somewhere there, about $34,000. So imagine making that. So you're spending $37,000 one time to make $38,000 or $37,000 multiple times, like over and over every year. Again, so when you pay for your own learning, you're paying for that one time to reap the benefits over the lifetime. It's important that we understand how to value these things so that you don't lock yourself out of opportunities because you're too worried about the cost. You will always, if you are connected to someone of value, you will always get your return in multiple folds. So don't lock yourself out. Many coaches these days, they tend to have a payment plan. We've put stuff on layaway for things that are, trinkets. How much more the value for your own education? You didn't paid $100,000 for a master's degree and you're still working a job that's paying you $90K. Value. What is the value of an asset that you purchased today that you can pass down to your kids? I mean, what is that in value to you? So it's important that you adjust your mindset a little to understand that, yes, this is what you're paying to get into the room, to get information, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm just getting information. No, you're not just getting information. You're getting structure. You're getting strategy. You're getting support. Something that, all these other resources cannot give you. Place value. Connect with a mentor of value, and you will get the return on your investment in multiple folds. My student right now, she has 2 properties. Some of my students have purchased properties for themselves. Some have purchased as rentals. My student has 2. Right now, she's looking into her 3rd property. And every now and then she's like, Coach, I'm so grateful that that I got into this when I did, because she went back to the same market where she purchased her first, and there's nothing there for the same price that she purchased for. There is nothing there. So every time you wait, every time you try to cut corners, and here's the truth about real estate. You are going to pay one way or the other. That's the thing. If you don't pay in mentorship, you will learn the harder way when you decide to dive in and go it on your own. And I don't say this to try to scare anyone, but again, having a guide, having mentorship, someone who can give you direction. Sometimes information is the currency of time. Information is the currency of time. Mm-hmm. So
information is the currency of time. That is good. Yes.
Are you looking to purchase a home in the next 6 months to a year? Before you get too deep into your home search, first thing you should do is get pre-approved by a lender. Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I am a local area expert here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I would love to help you find your new home. First things first, I can connect you with preferred lenders that can tell you how much home you can afford and what programs you qualify for, so less money is coming out of your pocket. Even if you're not in the North Carolina area, I can still connect you to a lender that can help you, and then connect you to a realtor that will get you into your new home. Hit the link in my bio, or you can send me a message today so we can set up a time to talk about your home goals. Can't wait to see you at the closing table. Bye! And so for those who aren't familiar with the 203K, can you tell them a little bit more about what that loan program is and why it can be helpful?
Yeah, of course. I think 203K loan is an excellent choice for first-time home buyers. And the reason why is because a 203K loan it's not like you're going to give the contractor the money and they're going to run off with it. What it allows you to do is to be protected as a first-time home buyer. So they have what's called the 203K inspector, and that person has to be certified. And before it used to be very few people, but now they've opened it up a little bit more. But yeah, there has to be a contractor. I think their experience has to be for 5 years. They have to have been a contractor before they can even get to that step. And then they have to approve the actual work that they're going to do. So the contractor is going to give the scope of work. They're going to actually go in, put it into different phases. Once they finish the first phase, the inspector comes out, looks at the work, says it's good, it's not good, and then they pay out the contractor. So you're protected all along the way.
Absolutely. I love a good 203K loan because it's essentially, the way I describe it to people is it's almost like having the training wheels of a renovation and fix and flip. And so you have people there that are guiding you, contractors that have insurance, have to be certified. So you're working with good people that are going to do quality work. And it's also teaching you how to run a renovation. Don't give a contractor all the money for a full project before the work is completed, and little things like that you may not know if you're not familiar with renovations. So how helpful was that process when you then decided in 13 days you were going to completely renovate this property again?
Well, it was really good because when the first time around, I was on site every day. The contractors were like, I'm OD, so I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be looking. I'm gonna be asking questions. What's the scope? Like, what's the timeline? When's this happening? How's this gonna happen? Which goes first? Like, I'm asking questions. So all of this is, for me, is knowledge, me learning, right? So when I actually did my property, I had contractors, I contacted them, I had a floor guy, contacted him, had a plumber, contacted him. Like, I knew everything that needed to be done in the house because I knew where my other contractor like took shortcuts. So I knew that I wanted to do it better this time, right? I was like, I'm gonna do the heating system better. I'm gonna do, whatever. So I made sure I got all the people in position before I closed. They were ready to go. So on the first day that I closed, the landscaping was already getting done and people were like feeling the energy of like, this house is getting fixed up. You know what I mean? And I just aligned everything and scheduled everybody to work really quickly. And I'm really good at like motivating people and getting people to get things done. And so we went ahead and did that. And literally 13 days later, the whole entire project was done. And, I didn't realize that was like a thing, like that was something special until like I had like a house tour and I had people come by and like, my friend told me like, you should have people just come by and check out the house because it's just sitting there. I was like, what do I do now? I'm just waiting for this to close, right? Because it sold like this. It sold like within a week on the market. It definitely,
wow.
Like, it was so like easy. And so I was like, what do I do now? I'm just like waiting for this house to close. He was like, you should do a tour and like talk to people about what you did. So I did that. I did a tour. I told people, I was explaining what I did. And then somebody said, did you have a contractor? And my friend that told me about it, who's been, more involved with investing for a longer time than he said she was the GC. And I was like, GC? He said she was the general contractor. And I was like, oh, is that what I was doing? Like, I didn't even know. So then my other friend was like, you should go make it official. So legit, like, I went and like the class was the next day. I took the class. I got the insurance the next day. And, the rest is history. I became a general contractor with $1 million policy when only $500,000 is required for the state of Rhode Island.
Y'all, in the comments, I need you to type extreme execution. Extreme execution. Like, did you hear what she just said?
I like that. Extreme execution. I like that.
You did a flip in less than 2 weeks, and then someone realizing that you were doing work and didn't even realize this is what it was called, and people are getting paid to do this. She said the next day, y'all, she went to go get that license. The next day. Success loves speed. Extreme
100%.
Execution. I love that.
That's what people got to take massive action. That's very true. I love that. Cool. Extreme execution.
Okay. So you had a year-long goal that you basically, it took 2 months to close. So you basically hit that goal in 2 months because you had your six figures with that fix and flip.
Yep.
Now, you had the fix and flip, but now it sounds like you're holding some properties. So walk us through like your investment strategy. How did you know this one needed to be a fix and flip, and when did that change?
So it wasn't intentional. You have to be able to pivot.
To be able to cut that 30-year mortgage in half. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about the discipline that it took to be able to do that.
Tiffany, you raised such a great point. It was in that space, it was in that moment that I was able to do just that. And that was just kind of one of those things, working for myself, being able to kind of steal away and go to places without having to be back at a certain time and dreading going back, because I enjoy working with my seniors with healthcare and doing all of that. But being able to be there in Myrtle Beach and having that sunshine and just the water and just that peace to be able to really come up with a strategy. And I feel like it was absolutely divinely downloaded. I didn't show up necessarily to be able to review how I'm going to get out of debt. It was just something that in that moment, I'm like, all of this time. So I feel like it was something that you have to really commit to. It was important for me. It was important for me to finish the deal. So prior to that moment, when I started working with Allstate, it was in the fall of that previous year. So I left that piece out. So I was working for myself, and then I took this position working in sales with Allstate. And that's actually what accelerated my ability to do more. And to your point, sometimes we kind of look at our places of where we work as kind of like we begrudge it and, why I got to get up and do this. But jobs are our first business partner. They are a blessing. They are something that how we look at these things and how we look at our work in our day-to-day is really what we get out of it. And when that check from that corporate got added to what I was already doing, I'm like, oh, it's up. I mean, what are we talking about? It's all the way up. I'm like, I didn't necessarily graduate, at the top of my class, but I know how to stay on top of stuff that's pretty simple, and more money to lessen these bills kind of equal Rob smiling bigger. So, so that's what I did.
Hey y'all, Tiffany here. Are you looking to purchase or sell real estate? As you know, I'm your aide to assets, and I want to help you with all of your real estate endeavors. Whether you're local here like me in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area, I can then help you purchase or sell your next property. If you're looking to purchase or sell outside of North Carolina, let me know too. I can still help you. I have a team of agents all over the country that I can connect you with to partner on your next deal. Let's get to the closing table, y'all. We buy our way to wealth, whether that's buying right or selling better. Can't wait to hear from you. Click on the link in the bio if you want more information on how to personally work with me or an agent on my team. Talk to you soon. If you are an investor that really wants to move the needle in your business and feel confident in knowing that this is a good property for you to go pursue, definitely check this out. Practice running your numbers every day. How often would you say, like, how long were you practicing running your numbers on a daily basis? Like, what did you give yourself?
It was months and months. Even if I just practice, if I just did like one or two a day, like, because literally I would just pull up like Zillow or somebody and look for a property. I would just run the numbers on it. I would look at the rents for that particular area, like, just to make myself like really familiar with it. And sometimes, like, just doing it, you don't know how much you know. Like, it starts clicking. Like, at first you're like, man, this is foreign, but then you get to knowing stuff, and you're in conversation talking with people. You're like, dang, I really knew that. Like, and I feel like that's where I'm at now. Like, I've gotten to a point, because I've done this repetition so much, I can look at somebody's numbers. I told somebody the other day, like, I can tell your cash on cash is wrong, because just from looking at it, I don't even need to pull out a calculator, because what you put into it versus the ARV, I'm like, I can tell your cash on cash is not right. Like, I don't know what exact number it is, but it's too low. Like, stuff like that. So you have to do it. You have to have that repetition to get good at it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so it sounds like y'all got some homework. If you try to get into your property, another property this year, you need to be running the numbers. So it's like you need to get it with ebook. Go to her YouTube channel, follow along with her so you can be practicing running the numbers and you can get confident yourself. And all you got to do, like she said, just pull up Zillow and see what's available for sale. And one thing that I tell a lot of clients that I work with is most deals online are bad deals. So, like, don't get discouraged if the numbers don't work, because it's actually you. That's how you know you're doing it right.
So this is our first property together, which I'm so excited about. It's one of the things that we have not done. We've both done repairs. We've both done Airbnb, midterm renters, long-term renters, but we have not done a fix and flip. We have always wanted to do that, and that is what this project is. It's a property in Toledo, Ohio. We purchased it for $14,000. And we're expected to put about 10 to 15.
Wait a minute, Christine, hold on. You're not gonna run past that. Wait a minute, y'all. Aid to Access community, hear what I tell you. In 2024, I'm getting a property in Ohio. What?
Do it.
14,000?
14,000. Now, it needs work.
Okay, but what? I was about to say, what kind of house we talking about now for 14?
Actually, it's a 3-bedroom. If I'm correct, it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. And the outside is in great condition. The inside has 2 levels. There's a first floor and a second floor. The inside, the first floor had a fire. Okay.
That's okay.
Now, a lot
Good
of
jobs
people,
are better. No, good jobs are better.
they are, right? Because everything is out. You can just lay it out however you want to lay it out. So a lot of people stray away from fire damage, but we have a really good contractor that's going to be working on it. He has experience with it. So the first floor was not in great condition, but the second floor is still in good condition because the fire didn't reach up there. But our contractor walked it. He said it looks good. The bones are great. All I really need to do is put some drywall up and, do a couple things. So we're going to put about 10 to 15,000 into it. And then, that's it. 10 to 15. I was shocked when I saw the number too. I was shocked. I did that same thing. I said, are you sure about this? And so we're budgeting, but even though a contractor tells you something, you have to budget for more than that.
Okay.
We're budgeting for about 30K of repairs. But even so, we did our numbers and it still works. And it's going to sell for about 85-ish thousand. And, since we pay cash, we could just sell it, get our money back and roll that into another one. So,
I want details. This is amazing. I love it. I'm so here for it. And yeah, people, that's one thing I'm learning because I have a goal. You messing up my goals, Christine, because one of my goals this year was to do a fix and flip, which maybe it needs to just be in Ohio. But that's one of the things that I'm learning is that full guts are so much easier to get paid for than like cosmetic or just like minor rehabs. So I love that. And I got a realtor in Ohio that I'm going to be calling after we get off of this. So wow. Okay, cool. So you and Ashley, y'all went on this together. So what does that look like? We've had people come on the show and talk about how they've done structured partnerships in different ways. What does that look like for you all?
So Ashley's an attorney, which I'm sure you know, but she is very keen on like making sure that there's agreements in place for every business decision that she makes. And so she was like, if I'm going to purchase a property with someone that's not my spouse or not my mother, it's important for us to have things laid out, which I completely agree with 100%. So we ended up creating an LLC. And both of our individual LLCs own our joint LLC. And so we purchased in our joint LLC. And our operating agreement basically states that we have 50% ownership. And if anything happens to one of us, then the property would transfer to the other person. So we have that in place. And it's important to have that in place when you're going into joint ventures with people that you know or you don't know. Whether you know them or not, no matter if that's like your best friend of all, you never know how things will go. You never know the course that your friendship will take. So, it's really important to cover yourself. And I completely agree 100%.
I love that you brought up that point about passive income. A definition that I've been using recently is like passive income is I get more in return than I put in the hours. It doesn't mean no work. It's just I get a lot more for the work that I do. I'm not constantly having to do work to get the return.
I really like that definition. I really like that. Okay.
Yeah. So
got it.
And while I think we should be pushing towards, okay, how can I make this as passive as possible? And that's how you spend your additional time is like thinking of ways to improve the process. But mindset wise, you should probably go in thinking like, whatever it is that you're going to do, you're going to be monitoring it in some way. And I can just tell a quick story, right? So I mentioned Airbnb investments, right? So on paper, the investment that I made, it made a lot of sense because it was a company that was doing like a turnkey process. They're doing all the stuff, they're doing the listing, they have the property, they're just kind of taking the investment and running with it, and then you get the return. Great, right? But even with something like that technically should be as passive as possible. But if they were not doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, or maybe there's problems that are showing up, now you're having to step in and check on things. Now you're having to check on the numbers and say, okay, well, did they send this and do that? Or did this happen? Or why is this person not being responded to? And now you're having to ask more questions and be more involved. So I would just expect from jump, and this kind of comes back to trust but verify, but from jump that in my passive income pursuit, I'm going to have to be involved. I'm just going to have to find ways to be less and less involved until the point that ideally the golden, place to be is it's completely set up. I don't need to touch it at all because there's probably someone in place that cares enough about it, like me, or I've set the systems up and the standard procedures and the technology and whatever so that it practically runs itself. That's like the ideal place to be. But mindset wise, you shouldn't go in thinking that, okay, I'm going to jump in and just do like absolutely nothing, and interestingly, I do have a couple investments that I offer to other people where that's been the case for them. So I've been able to achieve that for other people where they invest with me and they didn't have anything to worry about and they receive like a check every month, you know what I mean? And it's good to go. But you want to verify that type of stuff like straight through. Again, mindset wise, you got to go in being ready to do the work, but just knowing that you're going to get more in return.
Right. And that's so good because it speaks to, you talked about earlier, we had to get crystal clear on like what freedom looked like for us. And so for me, like I know I talk about that I am looking for time, location, and financial freedom. And so I want to get to a point where I'm doing less for more, but that's not where I'm going to start. That's literally the optimal epitome of where it is. I have an Airbnb, and so I was self-managing my Airbnb. That was a lot of time. It let me know I didn't want to do that anymore, but I had to try it out to figure that out. And so, but if I had that expectation in the beginning that I'm not going to do anything, I would have seen that as a failure when it really wasn't. It just wasn't what I was looking for. And so being clear about what our expectations are, what are we wanting to get out of this, it's so important so that way we can know what avenues, because there's so many paths that we can take.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Watson, and I am your local neighborhood expert. Born and raised right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, I'm very familiar with today's current market to help you best sell your home. Whether you are trying to decide what repairs you may need to make, what you should list your home to get the best profit, or how to negotiate with buyers once you promote your property, I am here to be your trusted confidant through every step of the journey. Fill out the information form below, and I'll be happy to give you a call to talk with you about the home selling process. I can't wait to serve you. Looking forward to seeing you at the closing table.
So we were buying single family homes, and initially that was the goal, to have 10 single family homes by 40. But then you just snuck up in here with this 6 unit. Talk to us about that. Where did that transition come from? How did we find the deal? Give us all the tea.
I wish it was just like some magic. Girl, because I was talking with a friend and she was like, you need to start getting into multifamily homes. Had I known what I know back then when I started, or even a long time ago, and I tell people that VA loan is something else. If I was young and had I known, what I really would have done was bought my first home using my VA loan and bought my first home being a multifamily home. And
hey, wait, hold on. Say that again, because they missed it. Tell them again.
Have the opportunity, and you have that VA loan, I would buy a multifamily. Hands down would buy a multifamily using my VA loan. Stay in one part of it and rent out the rest of it. It is definitely possible. You can absolutely do it. So I was telling her, man, I wish I had known that years ago, because I used my VA loan in my first home, my first primary residence. And and then had I known, that's what I would have done. So she was like, we can look at some. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to stop at the single family homes. If you ever come across anything like I really want to get into multifamily homes. If you ever see anything, please let me know. So back to my mentor, I called her and I was like, have you been seeing anything? I wasn't necessarily in the market though. This was this year. I had bought a home earlier this year. I called her. I don't even know how we got on a conversation. Like, she was like, oh, I forgot. She had these units. Like, she actually had, what was it, like 22 units available. And she was like, she was like, Katasha, I didn't even think I was going to get all these units. Is this something you might be interested in? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, hell yeah, I'm interested. Like, what other time, like somebody's going to present you with an opportunity to, because it's so hard to come by. The multifamily homes are so hard to come by. And then what made it so perfect for my situation was it was in my hometown. I've always wanted to I had always had a house in my hometown. We were both from, like I said, Columbus, Georgia. We both had an opportunity she put me in a position to be able to get in on this deal that I don't think that without her, I would have been able to get in on. So when it came, she presented me with this opportunity. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I started talking to some other. This was the first time I did another partnership because I was very leery of other people. I presented it to another family member. I was like, "Do you want to do it?" She said yes. We bought 6 units just in September, and so that's what I've been working on now. That's my latest deal. I'm getting that up and running. It's going to be on the market very soon. I'm very excited to be able to bring that to some great homes to Columbus.
It sounds real cool to be retired in your 30s and 40s until you realize everybody else at work all day.
I tell my friends all the time because I'll be like, yo, your ideal life, what would you do today? They're like, oh, just go to the gym. I'm like, that's 1 hour. You got 7 hours left. What else are you doing?
What else you doing?
I would kick it with family. They at work. What else are you doing? No, I will watch a movie. Okay, that's 2 hours. You still got 6 left. So it's like, you got to think about those kind of things before you just up and hop away from the workplace. So that's what it's been for me. That's why I'm like, if I could be on different coasts, just that had me like, okay, I'm cool with being by myself for the day. Look where I'm at.
Yeah, that's so good. And that's I think the reimagining life, because we have been so conditioned that life needs to look one way. We go to college, we go get a job, then we get married, we have a kid, whatever. And it's like, but life can look so many different ways, but we don't actually take the time to visualize and dream. What do we want that life to look like for us? Who are we actually spending our time with? How are we spending our days if we're not in a 9-to-5 that everybody told us to get?
That's a fact. That's a whole fact.
So,
like it's crazy because in the workplace, I fight that, but I kind of try to stay silent because you will hear so many common things like, oh, so-and-so's retiring at 55. And I'm like, whoop-de-doo, I hope I'm, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But you don't say nothing. Yes. It's just like, okay, cool. You just let it slide.
Because they gonna look at you crazy, like, what are you talking about? So absolutely. I have learned the hard way. Let me just say less. Okay, so what is that in for you though? Do you see yourself not doing a full-time 9-to-5 at some point soon? Or what are you thinking about that?
So for me, one thing I learned in the past is the concept was originally financial freedom, whereas like I said, if you make $5,000 a month, you make $5,000 outside your job, leave, keep the same lifestyle. But what I've learned for me is I need what's called luxury freedom, where it's like I was making this at work, but I'm making this outside of work passively. So now I can really live life and kind of really be creative on my own terms. And for me, I definitely see myself getting there within the next 5 to 10 years.
When you are talking with newer investors, and I believe just in our conversation that, you know, there are people who they have the opportunity to work with you. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But even if they don't, how do you help them understand how to properly vet, especially whether it's a mentor or a mastermind or those sort of things? What tips do you have for new investors trying to get in community?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I would say to everybody is turn down the volume and turn up your value.
Ooh.
Let me repeat that. Turn down the volume. You got to turn it all the way down to turn up your value. Now, the reason why I say this is because social media can clog your brain, right? You see all these different people teaching all these different things. The very first thing I want you to understand is nobody has the perfect system. Nobody, not me, not this person, not that person. What we have is what worked for us. My success is going to look different from your success, right? Your job is to know what is it that you want. Stop listening to everybody. Oh my God, this person drives, you know, a Lambo or this person got a private jet or a private helicopter. Later for all that, you got to put all of that to the side, right? Because that's advertisement.
Yeah.
It's not real estate. See, there's a difference between real estate and intellectual property. And what people get confused is that I do real estate. Other people are behind computers and they do intellectual property, which means that they're selling you courses. They're selling you, now it's still real estate, but it's intellectual real estate, right? You got to understand the two of the difference. When you're meeting somebody and you believe that they have what you're looking for, you have to decipher on, is it the lifestyle that attracted you or is it the work ethic that attracted you? Right? Did you meet this person because you see them in real estate? Did you meet them in Home Depot? Did you meet them at the title company? Did you meet them at a settlement? Did you meet them somewhere in real estate? Or did you just meet them because they got gold chains on? and because they got fancy cars on, and they at certain events speaking well on stage. How did you meet them? And the second thing is, what is your goal? What do you want out of real estate? Is it that you just want your lifestyle? Or is it that you really want to set up legacy wealth? So when you meet somebody new, the first thing you want to say to them is this. Is this what you do every day? Do you do real estate every day? Most people say, yeah, I do real estate every day. Can I come to one of your projects? Can I go to a house that you're working on? Can I pull up on you? Because if you're doing real estate every day, you should be able to allow me to come inside of one of your properties and see your progress. Not your students, but your progress. What are you doing every day in real estate, right? And then you take what they're doing and you ask yourself, is this what I want to do, right? So I'm a landlord with 95 doors. Do you want to be a landlord? And the question is, if the answer is no, then maybe my system that I teach you how to be a landlord might not be for you. If you say, hey, I want to be a wholesaler, well, I don't wholesale properties. So if that's what you want to do, you have to find the person that's doing what you want to do. But most people get confused is because you don't understand what you want to do. You understand what they have. So you got to focus on, before I sign any programs, before I sign up for any course, what is it that I want out of real estate? I want to flip properties. I want to replace my job with real estate. I want cash flow. I just want to do one deal and make 100,000. I don't care about nothing else, right? You got to know what is it that you want to do, and then you can pick the right person. But you got to turn down that volume. You got to get the nonsense out the way, because there's so many people just selling you stuff. They're great marketers, right?
Yeah.
And I say this about people: if the person you following is on social media 95% of the time, when the hell they at the properties? When they doing real estate? Because if they online every hour posting and every 30 minutes posting and going live every 15, every 20 minutes, I would have to question, like, when do you do real estate? Because you're great at marketing, but when do you do real estate?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to ask. You cannot get caught up in that.
Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of Aid to Assets. Remember, your journey from 9-to-5er to successful real estate investor is within reach. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep investing in your future. If you'd like to know more, connect with me on Instagram at Aid to Assets. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Until next time, happy investing.